Please subscribe, hit the like button, and let us know in the comments where you are watching from. My name is Sophia. My husband Derek suggested a hiking trip to save our marriage after I discovered his emotional affair. I agreed, hoping for honesty. Instead, he led me to a cliff edge and tried to kill me. What he didn't know was that I'd started recording the moment I felt something was wrong. The trail was empty that Saturday morning, just us and the mountain. Derek had planned everything: the remote hiking location 3 hours from home, the early start before other hikers arrived, the specific trail he'd researched that led to a scenic overlook. He called it our reconciliation trip, a chance to talk away from distractions, to rebuild what his affair with his coworker Melissa had broken. I'd discovered the affair 3 months earlier. Text messages on his laptop he'd forgotten to close. Nothing physical yet, he swore. Just conversations that had gotten too intimate. He'd ended it immediately, cut off contact with Melissa, and begged for a chance to save our 10-year marriage. Therapy helped, or seemed to. The counselor said we needed quality time together, honest communication, and shared experiences to rebuild trust. Derek suggested hiking, something we used to do when we first dated, before careers and routines dulled the edges of everything. The trail started easily, gradual incline through pine forests, morning sun filtering through branches. Derek held my hand, pointed out wildflowers, asked about my work project, my mother's health, and things he hadn't asked about in months. It felt normal, almost right. But something was off. A tension I couldn't name, the way he kept checking his watch, how he pushed the pace, eager to reach the overlook. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. We'd been climbing for 90 minutes when the trees thinned, and the trail opened to a rocky ledge. The view was stunning: mountains stretching for miles, valley far below, sky impossibly blue. The cliff edge was marked with a warning sign, but no railing, just rock and air and a 300-foot drop. Derek walked to the edge, gestured for me to join him, said the view was better up close. My instinct screamed, that primal warning that something predatory was nearby. I'd learned in therapy to trust my gut, to voice concerns instead of swallowing them. So I stayed back, told him I was afraid of heights. He knew that, had always known that. We'd been together 10 years. His expression shifted. Frustration replaces the manufactured warmth. He said I was being ridiculous. I needed to stop letting fear control me, that this was exactly why our marriage was failing. I wouldn't take risks, wouldn't trust him, wouldn't move forward. The accusation stung, made me question myself. Was I being paranoid, seeing danger where there was none? I pulled out my phone, told him I wanted a photo of the view, but my thumb found the voice recorder app instead. Hit record, slipped the phone into my jacket pocket with the microphone facing out. Just in case. Just because something felt wrong, and I'd stopped ignoring those feelings. Derek walked back to me, took my hand, said we should get closer to the edge together, that facing my fear with him would be symbolic, a metaphor for our marriage, taking the leap together, trusting each other. I let him lead me forward, 5 steps, 10, 20, until we were 15 feet from the cliff edge, and I could see the valley floor, far below, and feel the wind that would make anyone lose balance. He positioned me in front of him, hands on my shoulders, like a photo pose, like comfort. Then his grip tightened, and he started to push. I twisted sideways as his hands shoved forward. The movement saved my life. Instead of going over the edge, I stumbled to the left, fell hard on the rocky ground. Pain shot through my knee and palms as they scraped against stone. Derek lurched forward, momentum carrying him toward the edge he'd meant to throw me over. He caught himself, grabbed a boulder, stood there breathing hard, looking at me on the ground, calculating his next move. I scrambled backward, asked what he was doing. Why did he push me? His face cycled through emotions too fast to track. Shock that I'd moved, frustration that I'd survived, then recalibration. He rushed over, helped me up, his voice full of concern, said he'd been trying to steady me, that I'd lost my balance, that he'd grabbed for me, but I'd pulled away. I didn't argue, didn't accuse. My phone was still recording in my pocket. Let him talk. Let him explain. Let him dig deeper into lies while evidence accumulates. He suggested we head back, said I was clearly shaken, that maybe I'd hit my head in the fall. Kept asking if I was okay. Playing the concerned husband, helpful, caring, everything he wasn't when his hands were on my shoulders, pushing me toward death. The hike down was quiet. My mind raced, but my mouth stayed shut. Derek kept glancing at me, probably wondering what I was thinking, if I suspected anything. I kept my expression neutral, scared but not accusatory, confused but not certain. We reached the parking lot 90 minutes later. Only our car remained. No witnesses, no one who'd seen us on the trail. Derek had planned it perfectly: early morning, remote location, empty trail. No evidence except the story he'd tell about my tragic accident. I got in the car, he drove, suggested stopping for lunch, acting like nothing had happened, like he hadn't just tried to murder his wife. I said I was tired, wanted to go home. He agreed, relief visible in his shoulders. The 3-hour drive gave me time to think, to process, to understand that my husband had genuinely tried to kill me. This wasn't paranoia, it wasn't a misinterpretation. He'd researched that trail, chosen that spot, and positioned me at that edge deliberately. Why? The affair with Melissa, was it physical after all? Were they planning a future together? Was I an obstacle? Our prenuptial agreement was ironclad. If he cheated, he got nothing in a divorce. But if I died, he'd inherit everything. My life insurance, my half of the house, my investment accounts have grown substantially since we married. I'd been the primary earner for 6 years, made partner at my firm. My income tripled his salary as a marketing manager. In a divorce, I'd keep most of the assets. In death, he'd get it all. When we got home, I made an excuse about needing to rest, locked myself in the bathroom, transferred the recording from my phone to 3 separate cloud accounts, emailed the copy to myself with the subject line, "Open if something happens to me." Then I listened to it. Derek's voice, captured clearly by my phone's microphone. The sound of his breathing as he positioned me, the scrape of my shoes on gravel as I twisted away, his grunt of effort as he pushed, my gasp, the thud of my fall, his footsteps are rushing over, his sudden shift to concern. "Sophia, oh my God, are you okay? What happened? You just lost your balance. I tried to grab you." The lie was crystal clear in contrast to what had actually happened. I had proof. Now I needed to understand the full extent of his plan. I called in sick to work on Monday. Derek went to his office as usual. The moment his car left the driveway, I went through everything. His computer, his files, his hidden phone accounts. I'd never checked because I'd trusted him. That trust was dead now. And in its place was cold determination to understand exactly who I'd married. I found the affair first, not with Melissa. Or not just with Melissa. He'd been messaging 3 different women from work over the past 2 years. Explicit photos, video calls, promises about leaving me, discussions about my money, our assets, how much he'd get in a divorce, versus if something unfortunate happened to me. One message to a woman named Brittany, dated 6 weeks ago. "The prenup kills me. 10 years together, and I'd walk away with almost nothing. Been researching alternatives. Accidents happen, you know, especially to people who hike dangerous trails." My blood ran cold. 6 weeks ago, he'd started planning my murder. I found more. Life insurance policies he'd increased without my knowledge, my signature forged on the applications. He'd raised my coverage to $2 million 3 months ago. The premiums came from a joint account I rarely monitored. I found the search history on his computer. How to stage a hiking accident. Trails without surveillance cameras. How long before someone is declared dead if the body isn't found? Can police tell the difference between a fall and a push? He'd researched this methodically, like a project, like one of his marketing campaigns. I contacted a divorce attorney first, then a criminal attorney, showed them everything: the recording, the messages, the forged insurance documents, the search history. The criminal attorney, a sharp woman named Victoria Chen, said I had enough for attempted murder charges. The recording alone was damning. Combined with the digital evidence of premeditation, Derek was facing serious prison time. But Victoria advised caution. Moving too quickly might spook him into running or destroying evidence. We needed to ensure everything was documented, backed up, and untouchable before we involved Poland Ice. I hired a private investigator, the same man who'd helped my colleague through a similar nightmare. His name was Marcus Webb. He installed hidden cameras in our house living room, kitchen, bedroom, and Derek's office. All legal in our state as long as it's your own home. I needed to see what Derek did when he thought I wasn't watching. Bacta also did a deep background check, found things I'd never known. Derek had been married before, briefly, 12 years ago. His first wife, Amanda, had died in a car accident 6 months after their wedding. Single vehicle crash, no witnesses. She'd been the primary earner, he'd inherited everything. Police had investigated but found nothing suspicious. Grief-stricken widower, tragic accident, case closed. But the pattern was unmistakable. Derek married women who made more money than him, insured them heavily, then killed them when divorce would leave him with nothing. I was wife number 2 in a murder pattern. Marcus contacted Amanda's family. Her sister Emily had always suspected Derek, but had no proof. She'd pushed for a more thorough investigation, but without evidence, police had closed the case. Emily broke down when Marcus told her about me, about the cliff, about Derek trying again. We decided to set a trap. Victoria coordinated with police, with prosecutors who wanted Derek badly once they understood this was likely his second murder attempt. They wired our house beyond the cameras Marcus had installed, put tracking on his phone, his car, monitored all his communications. We needed him to either try again or confess. Preferably both. I played the loving wife, told Derek I'd been thinking about what happened on the trail. Maybe I was paranoid about the affair, letting it poison my perception. I wanted to try again, rebuild, maybe plan another trip. His eyes lit up. I could see the calculation, the hope that I was still manipulable, still trusting despite everything. He suggested a boat trip, Lake Harrison, 2 hours away, remote, deep water, no witnesses. Perfect for his plan, perfect for ours. The boat launch was early Sunday morning. For weeks after the cliff. Derek had rented a small motorboat, no one else, on the lake. Off season, cold weather keeps tourists away. He'd checked the forecast obsessively. Clear skies. Calm water. Perfect conditions for an accidental drowning. I wore the wire Victoria's police contact had provided. Tiny microphone, waterproof, disguised as a necklace. Marcus was positioned on the shore with high-powered cameras. Police waited 15 minutes away, ready to move. We went out on the water. Derek drove us to the middle of the lake, killed the engine, said we should talk. Away from everything. Just us. I told him I'd been having nightmares about the cliff, that I kept replaying the moment I felt his hands on my shoulders. That something about it felt wrong. His expression went carefully neutral. Asked what I meant. I said it felt like he pushed me, not steadied me. Pushed. He laughed. Said that was ridiculous, that I was letting paranoia ruin our reconciliation, that we'd never heal if I couldn't trust him. I pulled out my phone, told him I had a recording from that day, that I'd started recording before we reached the cliff edge, that I had his voice, his grunt of effort, his sudden shift to fake concern. Derek's face changed. Calculated warmth disappeared. Something cold and reptilian took its place. He asked to hear it. I played for 30 seconds. His breathing, my gasp. The evidence of attempted murder was captured on audio. He lunged for my phone. I dropped it in the boat, scrambled backward. He grabbed me by the throat, started dragging me toward the edge. Said I should have died on the cliff, that he'd planned everything perfectly, that I'd ruined it by moving. His hands tightened on my neck. Water was inches away. He was going to throw me overboard, hold me under, claim I'd fallen, and he couldn't save me. I grabbed his face, scratched deep. He jerked back. I screamed, knowing Marcus's cameras were recording, knowing police were listening through the wire. Derek slapped me, started shouting that I was the problem, that I made more money, controlled everything, made him feel small, that Brittany understood him, that Amanda had been the same successful, condescending, better off dead. He confessed to everything. Amanda's accident, he'd cut her brake lines, the cliff he'd meant to push me over, the insurance fraud he'd forged my signature, the plan for today drown me, claim an accident, inherit everything, start over with Brittany. Police boats appeared on the horizon. Derek saw them, realized what was happening, tried to throw me overboard one last time. I grabbed the side of the boat, held on. Marcus's voice came through a megaphone from the shore, telling Derek to stop, that everything was recorded. Derek released me, sat down in the boat, put his hands on his head. Defeated. Police arrested him on the water, pulled him from our boat into theirs, read him his rights while I sat shaking, hand on my throat where his fingerprints were already bruising. Victoria met me at the shore with They documented my injury, strangulation marks, scratches, defensive wounds. Everything was photographed for trial. Marcus showed me the video footage, Every second is captured in high definition. Derek's attack, his confession about Amanda, his admission of forging insurance documents, all of it is admissible, clear, and undeniable. Derek was charged with attempted murder of me and murder of Amanda. Amanda's case was reopened. Her car was found in a junkyard, miraculously preserved. Forensics found evidence of brake line tampering, combined with Derek's confession on the boat. Prosecutors had enough to charge him with first-degree murder. He pleaded guilty to avoid trial, life in prison without parole. The judge's statement was scathing. A predator who married women for their money and killed them when divorce became inconvenient, a pattern of financial abuse that escalated to murder. The forged insurance documents meant the policies were voided. Derek would inherit nothing. I kept everything: our house, my accounts, the future he'd tried to steal. I divorced him while he awaited sentencing. The prenup stood. He got nothing from our marriage except a prison cell and a life sentence. Amanda's sister Emily and I became close. We testified at Derek's sentencing together, held hands while we told the court about the man who'd killed one of us and tried to kill the other. The judge increased his sentence based on the pattern: life without parole, he'll die in prison. I sold our house, too many memories of the man I'd trusted, bought a smaller place in a different neighborhood, started over. Therapy helped. So did Emily. We meet monthly, two widows of the same predator, survivors of the same evil. The recording saved my life. That split-second decision to hit record when my instincts screamed danger. If I hadn't, I'd have died on that cliff or in that lake, and Derek would have gotten away with it again. Another tragic accident, another grieving husband, another perfect crime. I think about Amanda often, how she trusted him, how she had no warning, no proof, no chance to protect herself. Her brakes failed on a rainy night, and she died, probably not even knowing her husband had murdered her. I got lucky. I got evidence. And because I did, Amanda finally got justice. To everyone watching this, listening to this story, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Document everything. Record when you feel unsafe. Your gut is data your subconscious processes before your conscious mind catches up. And if someone is supposed to love you but makes you feel afraid, that's not love. That's danger. Don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it. Protect yourself first. Derek thought he'd found another victim, another trusting wife he could kill for money. Instead, he found someone who listened to her instincts and hit record. Have you ever trusted your gut when something felt wrong? Did it save you? Share your story in the comments. And if this resonated with you, if you've ever felt that primal warning that something was dangerous, subscribe. These stories remind us that intuition is survival, that evidence is power, that the people who hurt us most are often the ones who promised to protect us. I survived 2 murder attempts, and I made sure Derek never gets another chance. The recording was 3 minutes long, but it gave me back the rest of my life.